guys, and welcome to Tai Chi is for Fighting. The videos that you're going to see here are entirely unscripted and unchoreographed. I'm going to demonstrate moves from the Tai Chi form and based on Tai Chi principles, and we're just going to have to make them work. I'm going to be working with my partner Matt. Whichever video you see, it's always unscripted and unplanned. Matt doesn't know what technique I'm going to try to execute. I just have to make it work in a live, full-speed sparring environment. Alright. So in our video today, we executed essentially a Peng energy style part the wild horse's mane. As you saw, as Matt and I engaged, I came in, I dropped a hand down, came in, and displaced Matt rather forcibly into a wall. And you can see that in a couple places. You can see that in the ward-off motion. You can also see some of that action in the part wild horse's mane opening. Now, the reason I said a Peng energy is because in the end, every Tai Chi movement can manifest almost any one of the 8 energies, and that almost becomes more important than the movement itself. Because getting fixated on techniques like, oh, I did a part wild horse's mane on that guy, is going to get you into stagnant situations. Understanding the 8 energies that underpin those movements is going to allow you a much more fluid expression of your Tai Chi movement and Tai Chi techniques. So what we're going to focus on is we're going to focus on the idea of Peng energy, but we're going to use it through those 2 primary techniques found in the form because I used that unilateral leg-arm connected motion in order to displace Matt. Now, as I said, the 2 places you'll see this in the form are going to be part wild horse's mane or ward-off, also called Peng. And really both of those come from the hold the ball position, open, part the wild horse's mane expresses out with one hand dropping back, ward-off is going to express both hands forward. Now, the difference here is really going to be whether we're manifesting a Peng energy or a Lie energy. Are we manifesting a ward-off or a rinding energy? And because I displaced Matt strongly into the wall and didn't retain any component of him, I didn't grab an arm and pull around that, we didn't really have that Lie rinding component. It was a full ward-off. It was all forward energy. And what you need to understand about that is if you break down the video, we're going to have some slow-mo clips of that, and watch what happens. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move in, engage Matt, and then a lot of that energy is going to come here out of the hip and manifest into the shoulder. There's a couple things that really make that work. So if you want to come around here, Matt, for me. So there's a couple things that are really going to make that work. And what's going to make that work is I want to really make sure that I'm engaging the fascia of the arm, because that's going to allow me not to have to use a lot of muscle. Because if I just bring this arm out and push Matt, I can push him, but I'm having to engage a lot of muscle and use a lot of strength. And that's not the point of Tai Chi. Also, if Matt is in a very strong rooted stance, and I go and I just try to push, I don't really have the leverage for that. So what I want to do is I want to use fascial wrapping. I want to roll towards that thumb, activate the fascia around the outside of the elbow, up into the back of the shoulder, and really engage to lock that arm in place, so that I can really have a good, strong anchor to move into. And then what I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm using those hips. Remember, hips point the power. So wherever the hips point, that's where my power is going to be. So here, you saw I closed in with Matt in the video and then came through and made this manifest where I'm going to connect here. Didn't even necessarily have to come to the hand connect here, and then displace through those hips. I've got that fascial wrapping. Now remember, Peng also comes up and out, so I'm going to roll into that to have a little bit of that upward displacement because that's going to take him off his root. Okay? So we're going to pop out of the legs, wrap into the fascia, and make sure I'm generating a good upward energy to move him away from me strongly. The other thing I want to talk about that's important in making this work is how you originate this attack. Now there's 2 ways that you can go about this. In the video what you saw was I simply advanced into Matt while his hands were up. What happened was his hands were up, we were in a combat situation, and I essentially came in and just displaced his hands. Now what I'm doing is I'm using a first and a secondary Peng energy. My first Peng energy is as he's here, I'm going to come in and I'm going to express into this arm. Now I don't just want to try to push his arm out of the way, just like in push hands, I'm going to come lateral to his direction of motion to move his arm out of the way and make sure that I'm secure and safe so that he doesn't just back fist me as I come in. Once I get in, then I can throw my Peng energy out of the waist. And you can see each time I'm ending with that thumb rolled, so I'm engaging those fascia so that the whole body is connected. And when I push, I'm not just shoving with my arm, I'm projecting that whole body's energy forward. Now, the way that it didn't happen, because Matt didn't go aggressively on the attack immediately, is we could also liu or roll back into the same motion where if he comes in, I can displace that to the center line. Now, liu, of course, is a movement to the center. It's a neutralizing energy. So as he comes in, I'm going to connect and move to the center. You can see now I'm in that same place. I bring the arm over, and there's that same idea is I'm simply going to come through the waist, roll into that arm to make sure that I'm connected through the fascia, anchored down through the ribcage and the hip. That nice whip crack motion. Okay? So that's how to make Peng energy with ward-off or part wild horse's mane work against an opponent in actual combat, because Tai Chi is for fighting. We'll see you guys next time. Who knows what we're going to talk about? I can't tell you in advance because then Matt can watch the video and we've got to be able to catch him off guard because then he's more likely to fall down. See you guys next time.